So let's start with segment 1. The 7 segments of the black population. Segment 1 is the happy negatives. And you can when we go through it, you can determine whether or not that's you or someone that you know. So 5% of the black population are happy negatives. They are happy to be the obedient servants of whites. They believed that slavery was not as bad as black people think, and that there are some really good slave owners in our American history. You will hear them say things like, black history is everybody's history. Our President of the United States, or black people should fight for our country, America. They would sell out black people for a handful of magic beans. They are those blacks with blonde hair, blacks with white spouses, blacks with big houses trying to be like whites, blacks with expensive cars trying to be like whites, and blacks calling other blacks the N-word. They have become the spokesperson for the most racist of whites. Which one are you? So that's the question that we ask at the end of each segment so that you can determine whether or not that is you. Segment 2, the miserable negatives. 5% of the black population are miserable negatives. They hate working in the big house, selling out other blacks to whites, but they feel they have no choice. They believe that blacks will always be the servants of whites, and they are disgusted in themselves and other blacks for not doing anything about it. They usually allow themselves to be used up by whites until whites no longer need them and replace them with a newer model black, at which time they, as the old models, retire quietly out of sight until they get up enough nerve to try to make up for their misery by writing a book only to water it down before it reaches print so that their former masters do not get upset. These blacks usually live the rest of their lives locked away in their homes until they die. Which one are you? Okay, so you can determine if you know any of those miserable negatives. Segment 3, the terrified neutrals. Now, a lot of you are going to know a lot of people that fit into this category, but let's break down the category for you so you know what it is. 20% of the black population are terrified neutrals. They are afraid to do anything that may make massa mad. They are terrified that whites are going to destroy the world one day, but they are more terrified that black people are going to destroy them or their family tomorrow. Because of this overwhelming fear, they don't move. They get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, then get up the next day, go to work, come home, go to bed, and so on for their entire lives until one day they get old and die with only 3 family members at their funeral. They spend their entire lives wanting to go to heaven but afraid to die. So they live their entire lives without having done anything to change their world or change the world for their future generations. They get to their deathbed and begin to think about all of the things that they should have done, all of the things that they could have done, and all of the things that they would have done if things had been just a little different. And in the end, no one knows that they even existed except their families and hopefully a couple of friends. Which one are you? So, there's a lot of terrified neutrals out there in religion and corporate America and all these different places, and they are terrified neutrals. So when you go to work on Tuesday, you'll be able to look around the office and see which one of your coworkers are terrified neutrals. All right, number 4, the fearful neutrals. 40% of the black population are fearful neutrals. They're not going to stick their neck out on a limb for their people, but they will do whatever they can do without getting into any trouble with massa. They do not believe that whites are going to destroy the world one day. They get along with other blacks okay. They base their entire existence on the religion given to them by their mothers or grandmothers. Excuse me. They believe that God is going to come down and fix everything and make life better for them. I know y'all know a lot of those. They don't want to talk on the phone too much because Master might hear them. They don't want to go anywhere too black because Master might see them. They would rather live off of a few crumbs from Master than to worry about how they're going to feed themselves if they should try to go free. They're going to work like a slave for 25, 35, or 45 years, get their measly pension, and sit back until they die. Which one are you? Now, we know a lot of elders who fit into that category. They worked for 25, 35, 45 years just being good Negroes in white companies and not making waves. They got their little pensions, and now many of them are calling us because white folks have said, well, yes, we agreed that we would take care of you. You know, you worked for us for 40 years, and we'll, put into a pension along with you. You'll be taken care of for the rest of your life. Well, white folks have reneged on that. They actually did this stock market thing, wiped out the pension funds. Some of them never even put it into the pension fund. So when all of these black people were ready to retire, the money that they thought was there was not there. And those that had already retired and had their money in pensions, one day found out in 2007, 2008, and 2009 that nest egg that they thought they had been wiped out by whites. So those are my fearful neutrals. And where you look around the neighborhood, you will see a lot of the senior citizens fit into that category. Now, segment 5 is one of the segments that we look for, that the Panther Party looks for. And segment 5 is the tired neutrals. 20% of the black population are tired neutrals. They would gladly fight for freedom, but they have too many bills. They feel like if they can't be free, at least they can live as comfortably as possible as a slave. They are willing to fund the fight for freedom, but they don't see themselves as ever being free. They do believe that the day will come when black folks will stand up and do what it takes to truly be free, but they do not believe that that will happen in their actual lifetime. Given the right circumstances and the right leadership, however, these blacks would actually tell their white owners to take their jobs and shove them. These blacks would not go out on their own, but would follow the right leader under the right circumstances and seek out true freedom based on a sound plan and lasting sustainability. It is these blacks that the 5% fighting positive look for every day. Which one are you? Okay, so if you're that kind of person that get tired of the stuff you see happening in the black community, and if it wasn't for the fact that you got to be to work Monday or Tuesday in this case, and you got all these bills, you'd be out there, on the front line just working on the problem.